This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, hello there. It's Jeff Carter. We welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And this birthday boy is one of the most underrated members of the Big Red Machine. Yes, you got Johnny Bench, you got Pete Rose, Joe Morgan, George Foster, and all them. They're the big boys. But you got some very underutilized people. One name that has been underutilized for the Big Red Machine has been Cesar Geronimo, even David Concepcion. But this guy, for my money, is the best of the little known guys. The main third baseman on the Big Red Machine of the 70s, Tony Perez. So Tony Perez today is 79 years old. He played for the Reds, winning those dynasties, the 4 National League pennants and 2 World Series titles in the 70s. He also played for Montreal, Boston, and Philly. Now, a lot of people probably might be shocked that he was a Boston Red Sox. I knew he was an Expo, that the Expos got him. I thought they only had him for one season in 79, but anyway, yeah. And I knew he played for the Phillies during the Weeskiss era. So anyway, he's a 7-time All-Star. He averaged a lot of RBIs per season. He had more than 100 RBIs, not in every season, but mostly between 70 and 76 for the Big Red Machine. He was named He was nicknamed Big Doggy, and the mayor of Riverfront. He would actually manage Cincy and Florida in his career, and he was special assistant to the GM with the Marlins for many a year. All that he's in the Hall of Fame. He did it in 2000. So anyway, he would make his professional debut, not major league, but professional debut at age 17 in Class D for the Cincinnati Reds. His first game was in 1964 at Crosley Field. He would play first base and would not do so well. All that. In his first game, he was he started out 0 for 6, but then he did well. He would be a platooning first baseman with Darren Johnson and Gordy Coleman, pardon. So anyway, he would hit his first career home run, which was a grand slam in a game against the Milwaukee Braves. Anyway, Tony Perez would soon become the third baseman on the Reds squad, 67, and ironically was named to the All-Star team. In fact, Tony Perez was the MVP of the 67 All-Star game because he hit the winning home run in the 15th inning off of Catfish Hunter. Perez would have the honor, or dishonor if you will, to hit his first home run in Three River Stadium history in Pittsburgh. His 70 campaign was actually pretty good. He had 317 with 40 home runs and 129 RBIs. He would be third in MVP voting behind Billy Williams and Johnny Bench. Perez would play in the Puerto Rico Baseball League for many years. All that to hone his stuff. But anyway, he was a platoon. After being a platooner, he basically was a third baseman from 67 to 71. But then he got moved over to first base. And he drove in 100 plus RBIs 7 times in his 23-year career. Between 67 and 77, he would actually drive in 90 or more RBIs a year, runs per year. He was actually second in the major leagues in RBIs by a player with 954. Ironically, it wasn't Pete Rose or Joe Morgan who was number one. I know it was his teammate, but it was Johnny Bench. Anyway, the Reds went to the World Series 4 times in a 7-year span between 1970 and 1976. Yes, they lost the 1970 World Series to Baltimore in 72 against Oakland, but they came back to win back-to-back in 75 and 76, and Perez was the first baseman around. It was amazing to see Tony Perez do all that, helping the Big Red Machine out. In fact, the Big Red Machine holds the record for being the only team in the League Championship Series since the League Championship Series was introduced in 1969 to sweep the postseason. They won their best of 5 LCS against the Phillies, and then they won the best of 7 World Series in a sweep against the New York Yankees. It was terrible. I mean, for in Cincy's books, they traded him to Montreal for Woody Fryman and Dale Murray. It was like, holy smokes. Then Cincy went downhill after the Perez trade. Sparky Anderson said that basically Perez was the heart and soul of the Reds, and it was hard to believe he would be traded. He would spend 3 years in Montreal and not really do that much with the home run bats. Olympic Stadium will do that to you, but he drove it in 242 RBIs in his 3 years. They're more than 80 a year, if you will. He signed as a free agent with the Boston Red Sox. It was like, what the heck? Tony Perez with the Boston Red Sox? It happened. He spent 3 years with the Red Sox. He actually was in the top 10 in American League in home runs and RBIs in his first season with Boston in 1980. However, Cincy beckoned. But before that, Perez would reunite with Rose and Morgan on the Philadelphia Phillies, called the Weiss Kids. He was basically a reserve player. And as a free agent, he went to Cincinnati. He would actually become the oldest player to hit a walk-off pinch hit home run, one of many records that for oldest players that Julio Franco doesn't have. But anyway, he did it. He would actually be the oldest player to hit a Grand Slam in 1985 when he was 44 off of a Phillies reliever. However, Julio Franco broke that in 2004 at age 46. In fact, it was weird to see Perez, but the final week of his career, he actually was named NL Player of the Year and all that. Player of the Week. His final career hit was a home run off San Diego's Ed Woodson. So yeah, Perez was amazing and all that. In 2000, the Reds retired his number 24. He had a great legacy, 77%. And ironically, he was inducted along in the same class as Sparky Anderson. So yeah. It's amazing to see Tony Perez and all that. Perez would have 2 small stints being a major league manager. Not doing that badly, but could have done better. All that. Perez met his wife and had 2 sons, Victor and Eduardo Perez. And yes, Eduardo Perez did join his father in the major leagues and all that. Although Victor would attend and graduate from Xavier University in Cincy with a Bachelor of Applied Science degree in Finance and Computer Science. He was a professional actor many years in London, England. Eduardo was a third baseman, All-American for Florida State, and would play in the College World Series. He was drafted in the first round by the California Angels and played 13 years. And Eduardo was an ESPN commentator for many years and all that. Tony Perez was allowed a 20-day visa to return to Cuba in 1972. He took many suitcases of gifts, clothes, and medical supplies back to Cuba, which was amazing and all that. So Tony Perez was an icon and very underrated if you talk about the Big Red Machine, unless you're a Cincinnati Reds fan, but I don't know many. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.